Hey guys, it's Doppel here, the Baron's Finest, coming at you with one of the 3 deck profiles I said I was going to be uploading before the official start of link format, and this is deck profile number 2. And this is my final, I guess, junk Doppel Quasar list. I've seen some, well, like a couple of, like, in OCG, not really like Quasar anymore. I don't recommend playing the Quasar thing at all at post-link format. The Blackwing guy is not worth 3 spots in your extra deck. It's not worth playing like all those Yang things. It's just honestly not worth it to play a boss monster like Quasar anymore. And Blazar is not a whole lot better either. But regardless, this past Friday was my last local for pre-link format, and I just felt like, you know what, I want to play this one more time, at least with Quasar. And my final board was with Quasar. I'll go ahead and post a picture real fast. I'll actually go ahead and edit this. Why not? Just for this one shot. But this is my final like setup for pre-links with this deck. Had a fun time overall with the deck. I wound up playing against a really bad zombie deck, which, you know, it's a local. You're gonna play against some bad decks. And I'm not saying this is the best deck either, or probably the best build of it either, but I wanted to at least just play this the way I wanted to. I only lost to True Draco, Zoo, and even then I managed to make it to game 3, but I just didn't draw any of my board clears or any ways to deal with Trident. Then I also played against PK Fire because he just wanted to play that one more time. A lot of this locals was admittedly just us wanting to play certain decks one last time. And then I also played against Zark Magicians, which that was a 2-0. Was it a 2-0 or 2-1? I don't remember. But anyways, I didn't get 2-0 by anybody, obviously. And yeah, so we're gonna get started. This is the deck. I will also state right now, the extra deck is not a serious extra deck I should have played, but I wanted to just play some cards one last time. So we're gonna get started on the deck list. So to start off with, we played 3 copies of our Cover Boy Junk Synchron, best card in the deck. And then to continue along with this obviously being Junk Doppel, we played 2 copies of Doppel Warrior. I've always disagreed with 3. I feel this card can just be extremely bricky. You can pretty much see it whenever you need to. So there's that. And then for our last Synchron, we are playing 2 copies of Jet. I think Quick Draw has always been a terrible card. Jet and Junk just carry the deck so much. These cards are so strong. And realistically, you do so much with these cards, it's absolutely insane. They're your main combo enablers, especially Jet. Jet pitching cards is a wonderful thing. You actually don't... Typically, if you have too many cards in your hand, it's an awkward thing because of the fact that you have so many pieces you want engraved. For our Plant Engine, we are actually playing a relatively larger Plant Engine than a lot of the older lists. We play 2 copies of Lone Fire Blossom, that's right, my beautiful CP Lone Fire Blossoms. I love these things to death. 3 Predaplant Orpheus Scorpio. This card is insane. This is one of your key pieces. This is a card you want to open with. This or Lone Fire. It gets you into so much of your deck. It's absolutely insane. And of course, one of our Garnets in Darling Cobra. We're playing quite a few Garnets in this deck, awkwardly, but you kind of have to play with what you can in order to make the deck as consistent as possible. Of course, we have Dandelion. Great card is a great card. Spore. Very much a shout out to my friend Miranda or Aki. I don't know which name she wants me to go or call her by if she ever even watches this. But shout out to her. She made this for me, and no one of my locals really cared that I played with it. And then we have the one of Glow Up Bulb. Card is so good. I love the card. So that does it for our Plant Engine. It is, like I said, it's a little bit bigger of a Plant Engine, but everything works phenomenally. For hand traps, because we're moving this deck in a sort of a weird pace where it's like just sort of in clumps, like the junk stuff and the plant stuff, and not for hand traps. I only played 1 Maxi and 2 Ghost Ogre. I was debating about playing Velia, but I realized this card is just infinitely better. Plus, I thought, knowing my locals, a lot of people like to try hard, so I was expecting a little bit more of like actual like zoo decks and stuff. Really wasn't the case. Everyone was just kind of having fun last night. But regardless, this is still a fantastic hand trap. This card still is just good. I like moments where I can play Ghost Ogre. And then for the others, I guess the cards that don't really have a full-on section. I guess for like we have a Brilliant Fusion aspect. One Gem Knight Lazuli, one Clear Effector, and then one Snow. We're playing Lazuli instead of Garnet because Lazuli is a level 1 non-tuner, so it technically gives us plays, even though realistically with the extra deck that I did decide to take in with me, it didn't fully matter, so I probably should just play the Garnet. Clear Effector is such an amazing card. I know a lot of people don't know what this card does, so I'm going to go ahead and read it too fast or just pop up like a bigger version of it. This card is a level 2 light spellcaster, 0/9. If it's sent to the graveyard as a Synchro material, draw 1 card. A Synchro monster used with this card as a Synchro material cannot be destroyed by card effects. So you can make cards like a Matrix or Librarian and then just stop your opponent. They just kind of sit there and like, well, I can't do anything. I actually had people, or like a couple people misplay against this when I synchroed a level 5 and they just tried to pop my dude. And I was just like, okay, you can attempt it. And then Snow, stupidly good light monster. Like, oh my lord, this card. And then for our two, I guess, others, we have one Mathematician. I admit, in previous builds I hated this card, but now I think it's a really good card because you just have so many things that you need in graveyard. You need the extra enabler. Plus, we're not playing the Lightsworn engine that I usually play, so we had to put in this card instead. And then, of course, BLS. I know a lot of people will say BLS like is such a random pick. Why play it? The card isn't that good. You need follow-up plays, and this card is a follow-up play. A lot of your initial combo enablers will be like, say, Junk Synchron or Lone Fire Blossom. It's like, alright, they stopped that. Cool, you can drop BLS and then respond afterwards. This card came in handy so much, plus it's an OTK1 card. I also didn't play Armor Yarn, but again, that's a card I very much would consider playing. For spells, we have a lot of 1-ofs, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Regeki, 1 1-for-1, 1 Soul Charge, 1 Upstart Goblin. I will admit I made a mistake in my deck construction. So the night before when I was building my deck, I didn't remember the exact list I had that I was working with this format, and so I couldn't remember what my last card was. So I was like, oh sure, I'll put an Upstart Goblin. It's a good 40th card, technically making my deck 39. However, this should be Imperial Order, and instead I decided to decide the Imperial Order, and I just didn't remember that. But I mean, Upstart was either an easy set out card or just a good card overall. I don't complain about the Upstart at all. 2 copies of Twin Twisters. I also was initially playing 3 of this card, but just due to space and the fact I wanted to keep the deck 40, I kept the 2 Twin Twister. 2 Brilliant Fusion. I know some people will question why not 3. 1, we're only playing 1 real instance of the Brilliant Fusion engine, aka in the 1 Seraphinite. We're not trying to resolve it multiple times because we have 0 ways to recycle in this deck. And 2, this card is bricky. This card is extremely bricky. This deck is already bricky enough as it is. We don't need more bricks. Along with that, we also play our 2 copies of Instant Fusion, which technically can act as 2 more Brilliant Fusion, just in a different manner. I actually had a Brilliant Fusion a lot, or Instant Fusion a lot for Seraphinite, because that does work. So, Instant Fusion gets me in there. 2 tunings. We're only playing 5 Synchrons, and on top of that, we have the Rhoda, so we don't need the 3rd. So 2 tuning was perfectly acceptable. And then, last but not least, we play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. As I keep saying, Pot of Greed is a good card, so Pot of Desires is a good card by the exact same logic. Extra deck, I will again re-emphasize this right now. This is not the exact extra deck I should have realistically played. I did not play a level 3 or level 4 Synchro. I at least wanted level 4 a couple times, but regardless. For our level 2s, we played 1 Formula Synchron and 1 Celestial Double Star Shaman. I know nobody's going to know what this card does. This is another Dual Saga card, so I'm going to go ahead and read this card real fast. It is a generic level 2 Synchro, 100 by 8. You know, just needing a tuner and non-tuner. It's also a Synchro tuner. When this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon up to 4 level 2 non-tuner monsters from your hand and or graveyard in defense position, but they have their effects negated. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Synchro monsters. You can only use this effect of Celestial Double Star Shaman once per turn. So this card is a very big extender. Realistically, you only need to do the Librarian formula play once. So this is just a card that, like, when you're not in that scenario or you need to make certain plays happen, you can make this card happen. Unfortunately, this is a card that kind of has to get cut post-Link format. Well, format, I should be saying. It's more like Link era. For 5s, we have Excel Synchron, Hyper Librarian, and Crystron Ametrix. I know I'm just buffing out all the weird cards. Ametrix, though, is such a good card. I absolutely love this card. I think it's a little bit better than Chambara in this deck, just because of the fact that a lot of monsters have really high attack but low defense. Plus, you know, when you stare at that 3600 or that really big Trident, you can't answer it. This card does. And to go over the relevant effects of this card real fast, it's a generic level 5 Synchro, 25 by 15. If it's Synchro summoned, you can change all face-up special summon monsters your opponent controls the defense. And then the rest of the effect doesn't matter because we're not playing any of the Crystons. But if you're playing a Crystron deck for some reason, there you go. We're only playing 1/6 and 1/7, so we played Coral Dragon and Clearwing. I really was debating about playing Black Rose, but Clearwing was a very solid card in my opinion. I liked it a lot. The effect negation was really good, and I know some people say why Coral Dragon over Brio. Coral Dragon's a tuner, and it draws you a card when it leaves the field. So those are both my essences of logic to it. Realistically, I would have liked to have played Black Rose, but you can only play so many cards. For only 2 level 8s, we played Omega and Scarlet. I know some people also say, why no Clearwing? Again, there were some cards that are kind of like we just had to cut. And Crystal Wing was awkwardly one of them. I don't recommend doing that, but you do what you can. But both these cards are really good. I cheesed. This card actually got me a lot of OTKs. This card is just a very consistent card. I love both. Enough said. My only level 9 was Trish, and then my only level 10 was Shooting Star. I personally feel that, especially in this format, if you're going to be playing Quasar, you need to play the Shooting Star Dragon. You need to just be able to stop your opponent. And on top of that, if your opponent outs your Quasar, you need a play to follow up with it. So Shooting Star actually did come up like once it came up like twice, primarily in friendlies, but I still think Shooting Star is really good. Also, I Trished a lot of people first turn. The deck actually has some really funny combos that I can do at first turn Trish, but there's really no point in making a combo video, considering most of this deck becomes irrelevant, unfortunately. And then we played the one Cosmic Blazar Dragon and the one of Shooting Quasar Dragon. I had technically made Blazar once, but because my friend was joking, I was like, oh, you can't make Quasar first turn. Even though I made the Blazar, I just said screw it, drop Quasar. And then he was just like, well, that's just as bad, I guess. So, honestly, depending on... I wouldn't play both these cards. I'd play one or the other. I do think overall Blazar is the better card, but Quasar is still a really solid card. On top of that, swinging twice is really cool. But this card is infinitely better going first. This card is infinitely better going second. But I, again, just made Quasar, never made Blazar. And then for my fusion monsters, because I played 2, I played one Theseus and then one Seraphonite. Both cards are really cool. This card just makes so many plays happen. Like, both cards make plays happen, in particular Seraphonite. I just love both these cards to pieces. I think they're just both absolutely wonderful cards. And so for our side deck, we once again played the 2 Dark Kaijus. I played these just because these are dark. I wanted to realistically be able to maintain the chaos aspect. Plus, I felt I could just deal with it, or deal with this kaiju. And honestly, even though I decided that I never drew it, 1 Twin Twister and then 1 Book of Moon. I was afraid of Zoo, so I kept this in. I was afraid of a lot of back row, so I decided this in. Don't really remember ever citing the Twin Twisters. I cited them in the Book of Moon a fair bit. 2 Dark Hole. I want more board clears. 2 Enemy Controller. We have very similar logic to this with Zoo, where we can just take their dude and then make plays with it. But on top of that, you can... This card is just great. We have a lot of just, random monsters that we don't mind just sacking off. The card that should have been in my main deck, Imperial Order. I'm actually borrowing this one from a friend because he has mine. So... Imperial Order, great card. 2 copies of Drowning Mirror Force. I like this card a lot. I think this card is really underrated this format. I wish I played this at Nats, but what can you do? 2 Solemn Strike. We're not really wanting to play traps on the main board just because we don't want to break or have even more bricks with not combo pieces. Hence the 2 Strike. But Strike is a really good card. And then last but not least, 2 D Barrier. Because if you D Barrier somebody, you can potentially just win the game right there and then. So that does it for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. It feels very odd to actually just have this be the final Doppel deck profile that I upload for current format for pre-link. It feels really mixed, but you know, I guess when things happen in the game, you just kind of have to roll with it. But I honestly am just rambling. There is one more deck profile coming up. We're gonna give you guys something to look at while I ramble. And then we'll have a little bit of a channel update in the near-ish future. There we go. Yeah, I like this. But yeah, I just wanted to play this deck one more time. I wanted to make Quasar one more time. Ended my final board in an actual event on Quasar. I guess I couldn't have asked for more. I am sad that this deck does have to change a whole lot, and it basically just becomes like half Synchro, half Link. But at the same time, you know, when Konami makes a mechanic that literally shoves it down your throat to make any other mechanic remotely playable, you kind of have to play with what you can get. But anyways, that's going to be it for now. One more deck profile. It may not necessarily be up before Link format or Link era officially enters, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. And consistently, it's both a relevant and irrelevant deck anyways, which I think you guys can be able to figure out from that context. Update video will be coming out soon, and that's going to do it for now, guys. So until next time, peace.